You need to wait until the very end of Reacher Season 3's finale for one of its best jokes. One of the best jokes in Reacher Season 3 comes near the end of the finale and is at the expense of an unexpected character. However, this gag is easy to miss if you're not paying close attention to the action-packed finale. Before we get to the hilarious joke, though, the events of the finale need to be addressed, as the ending of Reacher Season 3 is amazing. After two major showdowns were teased the entire season, Reacher finally fought Polly and got his revenge against Zachary Quinn in the Season 3 finale. The fight between Reacher and Polly lives up to the hype and is perhaps one of the most intense fights in television history. It was also amazing to see Reacher finally get revenge against Quinn years after he brutally murdered Dominique Cole. However, in addition to Reacher, the finale surprisingly focuses quite a bit on Villanueva, one of the supporting characters in Reacher Season 3. Villanueva has an intense fight in the finale, and is also involved in one of the best jokes in Reacher Season 3. Villanueva still driving the car he and Reacher flipped over is a subtly hilarious gag. In Reacher, Villanueva is a DEA agent who is close to retirement but decides to do one last job to help out Susan Duffy, who he is a father figure to. Throughout the season, Villanueva is often used for comedic relief, but also expresses valid concerns about Duffy and Reacher's operation. He consistently thinks they are taking things too far, but never seriously considers leaving Duffy because of their special relationship. However, the events of Reacher Season 3, Episode 5 prove that things have gone too far. In the episode, DEA agent Stephen Elliott is tragically killed by their hostage, who tries to get back to Beck's mansion to expose Reacher. To stop him from reaching the mansion, Reacher, with a little bit of help from the almost retired DEA agent, flipped Villanueva's car. Reacher flipping a car is one of the craziest things he does in Season 3, and eagle-eyed viewers are reminded of this moment in the finale. Reacher has always been a show that balances bruising action with moments of deadpan humor. Jack Reacher, portrayed with granite-jawed charm by Alan Ritchson, is a man of few words, but when he speaks, it counts. This stoic style creates fertile ground for comedy that doesn't break the tension but punctuates it, often catching audiences off guard. And in Reacher Season 3, fans were treated to a masterclass in this subtle humor, but only if they stayed all the way to the very end of the finale. While the season packed in its fair share of gut-punch twists, double crosses, and Reacher's signature brand of justice, one of its most satisfying surprises came after the dust had settled. It wasn't a shocking revelation or a surprise cameo. It was a joke, a perfectly timed, dry-as-sandpaper joke delivered in classic Reacher fashion. And the best part? It was buried in the last minute of the final episode, waiting for patient fans like a hidden dessert after a long, intense meal. Spoilers ahead for Reacher Season 3. Before we dive into what makes this moment so special, it's important to establish a little context. Reacher Season 3 adapts Persuader, the seventh book in Lee Child's long-running series. In it, Reacher goes undercover to take down a shady operation run by a ghost from his past. The storyline delivers everything we've come to expect from the series: intense close-quarters combat, clever problem-solving, and a grounded emotional arc that subtly peeks through the show's tough exterior. By the time the finale rolls around, Reacher has dismantled the criminal enterprise from the inside, rescued the innocent, punished the guilty, and left a trail of bodies and broken ribs in his wake. All of that's standard fare for a Reacher story. What's not standard is what happens right after. The final scene, Reacher's version of a punchline. As the finale winds down, Reacher sits at a quiet diner, alone as usual. A waitress offers him coffee, and he politely nods. She recognizes him. "You were on the news," she says. "That warehouse fire, right? You saved that kid." Reacher doesn't answer directly. He just stirs his coffee. Typical. Then, with a rare smirk, just barely perceptible, he replies, "I was just looking for a sandwich." It's the kind of line that's so perfectly dry, it feels like something Clint Eastwood might have muttered in the 1970s. It's also hilarious, not in a laugh-out-loud sitcom way, but in a way that feels so Reacher. After everything he's been through, multiple shootouts, an undercover mission, countless lives saved, he boils the entire affair down to a simple desire for lunch. And it kills. Why it works so well. This moment lands not just because it's funny, but because it's earned. The show has spent 3 seasons establishing Reacher as a man who doesn't brag, doesn't monologue, and certainly doesn't seek praise. He lives by an internal moral code and rarely lets the outside world in on his thoughts. So when he makes a joke, especially a dry one, it feels like a gift. A crack in the armor. And this one-liner encapsulates everything fans love about the character. Understatement, Reacher doesn't embellish. If anything, he downplays. I was just looking for a sandwich minimizes his entire crusade into an afterthought. Timing, coming at the very end of the episode, it feels like a wink to the audience. You've made it this far. Here's a moment of levity as your reward. Character consistency. It's not out of character. It's exactly what Reacher would say. He's not trying to be funny, he just is, because of who he is. The joke is a callback and a reward. For readers of the books, this line is especially satisfying. It's a subtle callback to many moments across the Reacher novels, where he embarks on massive investigations for seemingly small or personal reasons. Sometimes he gets off a bus in the wrong town. Sometimes he just wants a cup of coffee. Sometimes, yes, he's looking for a sandwich. That's part of the beauty of Reacher's storytelling. He doesn't seek trouble, but trouble finds him. His reasons for getting involved are never lofty. He isn't driven by revenge, fame, or duty. He's driven by instinct, and often hunger. This line, then, is a cheeky nod to that recurring motif, a subtle reward for loyal fans who followed Reacher's unassuming path through violence and virtue. Alan Ritchson's delivery seals the deal. It's easy to overlook how much Ritchson brings to moments like these. Known for his imposing physicality, he is Reacher's 6'5" frame come to life. Ritchson also understands the power of restraint. He knows that Reacher's deadpan delivery is what makes the humor pop. In lesser hands, the line might have come off as a smarmy quip. Instead, Ritchson plays it completely straight, almost absent-mindedly. That subtle smirk, it lasts barely a second. And yet it tells you everything. Reacher isn't joking for anyone else's benefit. He's just being honest. From his perspective, the whole thing really did start with a sandwich. The role of humor in Reacher. Some viewers are surprised to discover that Reacher has humor at all. After all, the show is often intense, gritty, and violent. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find that the humor is always there, lurking beneath the surface. It's the kind of humor that emerges from Reacher's bluntness, his refusal to engage in small talk, and his strange, almost monastic detachment from modern life. He's not trying to be funny. He just is, in the same way that someone who says exactly what they're thinking can be unintentionally hilarious. Think of it as reality-based comedy. Reacher isn't a clown, but his dry, almost robotic logic often leads to hilarious exchanges. This final joke, then, is the ultimate distillation of that brand of humor. It's so dry, it might take a second to land. But once it does, it leaves you smiling long after the credits roll. A quiet mic drop. In the era of post-credit stingers and last-minute twists, it's refreshing to see a show reward viewers not with a tease for next season, but with a perfectly crafted character moment. It's not a sequel setup. It's not a dramatic cliffhanger. It's just Reacher being Reacher. I was just looking for a sandwich.